Hi there, 7th grade. This is a help video for finding the mean absolute deviation of a set of data. Okay, it's a tough topic, and we're going to talk through it here today. So, mean absolute deviation. Okay, mean absolute deviation is the average distance of each number in a set from the average of the set. So, first you find the average of a set of numbers. And then you find out, on average, how far is each number from the average. And we're going to break down how to do that and what exactly that means. And we're going to use a problem straight off of IXL, so I'll read it here. In the data set below, what is the mean absolute deviation? And our numbers here are 8, 6, 3, 2, and 8. If the answer is a decimal, round it to the nearest tenth. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and walk through this one on the screen here, finding the mean absolute deviation. Okay, so mean absolute deviation is of 8, 6, 3, 2, and 8. Okay? The first step when you're finding the mean absolute deviation of a set of numbers is first just find the mean. Okay? Mean is another word for average. Okay? And if you remember, to find the average of a set of numbers, you add up all the numbers, and then you then you divide by how many numbers there are. Let me say that again. You add up all the numbers, so 8, 6, 3, 2, and 8, and then divide by how many numbers there are. Well, it looks like we have 5 numbers. So I want you first to find the average yourself, and then I'll do it up on the screen. So go ahead and pause the video here. Okay, so let's add them up. 8 plus 6 plus 3 plus 2 plus 8. All right. That's 14, 17, 19, 27. All right. So we add up all our numbers. 8 plus 6 is 14, plus 3 is 17, 19, 27. And then we need to divide by how many numbers there are. So we already decided there are 5 numbers, so we'll do 27 divided by 5. I'll just write that with a slash there, 27 divided by 5. Looks like that's going to be a decimal. I don't think 5 goes into 27. So that's going to be 5 point, let's see, 4. All right, 5.4. That is our average here. Okay, so the mean, the average is 5.4. Okay, so average, I'll use mean because that's the word that they use. Mean equals 5.4. So that's the average of all those numbers that we had there. Okay. Very good. So that's the first step for finding your mean absolute deviation. You find the average of the number. If you're having trouble kind of in that section of just finding the average, I would encourage you not to search for help videos on mean absolute deviation, but search for help videos on just finding the mean, finding the average. That's what that first step is. Okay, so now that we have our average, we're going to do our final step for finding the mean absolute deviation. We want to see how far away from the average is each of these numbers. Okay, here's what I mean by that. I'm asking myself, let's go back to our list of numbers. So our first number is 8. I'm asking myself, how far is 8 from 5.4? Because 5.4 is our mean. What's our next number? It's a 6. I'm asking, how far is 6 from 5.4? How far is 3 from 5.4? I need to find out how far is each number in my list from 5.4. I need to find out how far is each number from the mean. How far is 2 from 5.4? And finally, how far is 8 again from 5.4? So how do you figure out how far a number is from another number? Well, you just subtract the two numbers, okay? And by the way, since we're finding the mean absolute deviation, you might remember that the word absolute comes from absolute value. That means you don't care if it's bigger or smaller, you just want to know how far is one number from another one. That means that all these distances here, how far 8 is from 5.4 or how far 3 is from 5.4, those are all going to be positive numbers, okay? So even if our subtraction gives us a negative number, we're just going to say, hey, that's a positive number, okay? So I'll show you what I mean here. Let's start here. So to figure out how far is 8 from 5.4, that's going to find the distance between those two, you'll just do 8 minus 5.4. Okay, you can do that on a calculator if you want to. If you're good at doing decimals on paper, you can do that as well. Whatever's easiest for you. Okay, so 8 minus 5.4 gives you an answer of 2.6. Let me double check that. Yeah, I think we got that one right. Okay, so you need to find out how far is each of these numbers from 5.4. Okay, and remember, if you get a negative answer here, in this case I got a positive one, but if you get a negative answer, you need to make it positive. Okay, so just take away the negatives. Go ahead and pause the video, try these out right here, and then I'll do it on the screen. Okay, so 6 minus 5.4 is 0.6. 3 minus 5.4 would be negative 2.4, but remember, we're not dealing with negatives, we just want absolute value, so it's just 2.4. Okay. 2 minus 5.4 is negative 3.4, so just 3.4. Again, we're not dealing with negatives here, we're dealing with absolute values. And then finally, 8 minus 5.4, we already did that one, so we don't have to do it again. That's 2.6. Okay, so lots of steps here. I know mean absolute deviation is the process for sure. Okay, so we have our mean, and now we know how far each of our numbers is from the mean. The final step for mean absolute deviation is you find the average of these distances. You find on average how far is each number from the mean, 5.4. So now you're going to average out these 5 numbers. Just like before, you were averaging out the data set, all those numbers, and now you're averaging out those distances that you just calculated. In other words, I'm going to add up 2.6 plus 0.6. I'm going to add all these numbers up and then divide by 5, because once again we have 5 numbers. Go ahead and pause the video here. I would definitely recommend a calculator for this part and try to find the average, the mean of these 5 numbers. Okay, I'll finish it on the screen now that you've paused it. 2.4 plus 3.4 plus 2.6. All right, we got to add these babies up. 3.2, 5.6, 9, 11.6. Okay, I believe when you add these up, you get 11.6. Let me double check though. I don't want to mess this up here. I got something different that time. Let's pull up a calculator here really quick. This far into the video, I don't want to give you the wrong answer. All right, let's just copy and paste that into Google here. All right, 11.6. All right, they agree. So back to our problem. So we're finding the average of these numbers. We added them all up, and then to find the average, you divide by how many numbers you have, just like you did up here before. So instead of 27 divided by 5, though, now we're doing 11.6 divided by 5. Okay. And again, I'll go to the calculator for that one for the sake of time. And that's going to give us 2.32. All right. That, my friends, is almost your final answer. I say almost because if you read the directions from IXL, it says if the answer is a decimal, round it to the nearest tenth. Okay? So tenth is one spot after the decimal place, which would be this spot right here. So if we're going to round 2.32 to the nearest tenth, our final answer would just be 2.3. Okay? So let's cross our fingers, hope we got it here. 2.3, make sure I'm typing that in right. All right, so that's the process for finding the mean absolute deviation. Let me just review it one more time. If you want to stop the video here, you think you got it, great. Let me just review the whole process again, just just with words. You take your numbers and you find the average of the numbers. Once you have the average, you find out how far is each of the original numbers from the average. Once you have all those distances, how far is each original number from the average, then you find another average. You find the average of those distances. That final average is your mean absolute deviation. Don't forget to round the way they want you to. Thanks for watching. Hopefully that helps.